What are your thoughts on quiet luxury? Big fan, smiley face. First of all, thank you. Second of all, this is a fashion questions episode. You're asking questions on Instagram, I answer them here. Quiet luxury. I'm down to talk about quiet luxury as long as we can all acknowledge that this is in the exact same category as cottagecore, normcore, blokecore, the obsession with jorts from last year. Like, all of this is in the exact same category. It is just a trend. Now, the one thing that I will say that's kind of cool is that quiet luxury is pushing everyone towards, I think, a minimalist aesthetic, which I think people are kind of wanting now because we've been in this maximalist stage for so long, which is fine. It switches back and forth between maximalism and minimalism. That's just kind of how the spectrum works. I think Dye Workwear, the excellent Twitter account that's mostly about formal menswear, had a great take on this. And I quote, "You don't actually love quiet luxury. You're in love with the idea of inherited wealth, spacious, uncluttered homes, and enough free time to pursue your hobbies. This is great. Quiet luxury is being able to put on a nice little outfit and walk 15 minutes through quiet streets on your way to the grocery store where you pick up just enough ingredients for dinner." Wait, hang on. Is quiet luxury just like retirement? Is that what that is? Here's what I actually like about this. I do like that quiet luxury emphasizes luxurious materials and minimalist cuts. The one thing that I personally own that is a quiet luxury item is a cashmere Zegna coat. I think that qualifies, right? So this is a perennial coat that Zegna makes. It goes for like $5,000. It's some just insanely expensive coat because Zegna makes their own cashmere, and I found it for $250 with the tag still attached. I was floored. I could not believe I had found that thing. That was at a time when I did not have a spare $250 and I made the irresponsible decision of getting it anyway. And I have worn that thing so much. It's made of an incredible cashmere that just feels unbelievable, and it's super duper simple. And that is sort of the cool thing, I guess, about quiet luxury, is that it's just sort of like I have my gear and I am ready to live my life, and the gear is wonderful. Like, all of it feels incredibly special. The experience of putting it on and touching it and stuff, that is the quiet luxury experience, is being able to be like, Also, I don't even know why I'm trying to explain this. This guy is going to explain this so much better than I will.
You know this brand called Loro? So it's going to sound kooky, but the Olsen twins, they got like some high-end chic shit. Oh, so I got a Row jacket. Motherfucker stopped me the other day and said, "Yo, is that the Row?" I said, "Yeah." It was like some Fight Club shit. I was like, "You know?" He goes, "I know." And it ain't cheap, but I fuck with the Row. I fuck with the Olsen twins, and I fuck with their clothing line, the Row. Hard body karate. I'm looking chic.
I hate being like, this is okay if you're like me and found this incredibly priced, like mega expensive coat. That's the only way this is okay. I just think that it's cool because they're more like investment pieces, which I think is the way that we should be buying clothes anyway. Like, I'm buying this thing and it's not getting sold after like 6 months or whatever. I'm getting this and it will be worn by me for forever. But if you're like going to Uniqlo with the intention of like, I'm gonna show up to this function so quietly luxurious, then I just strongly suggest that you stay away from it and just don't worry about it, because it's just a trend. It's literally just a trend. Wait, what is in this mysterious antique box? Let's open. Oh my gosh. It's the Patreon. Join the Patreon so you can watch extended episodes and exclusive episodes and extended interviews and other stuff too. Please do that. Back to it. Would fashion be better if creative directors were anonymous to the public? I think it's good that designers have a choice about this. I think that there are some, like Rick Owens, who greatly enhance the world building of their brand with just who they are as a person. I get what you're saying, where it's kind of corny when some designers like so lean into the celebrity thing that it becomes kind of cheesy and cringy.
And this particular collection is...
I think it's good that designers have a choice in this. I think that some of them purposefully can choose to be out of the spotlight and really not accept interviews, not really talk to anybody, and not really make any public appearances, and that others choose to lean into that fully because that's just who they are naturally. I think that designers who are kind of doing the modern version of what you're talking about are just designers who have chosen to keep their businesses and themselves very, very low-key. Examples of this would be anything from Deep T Barth, who makes incredible clothes, to Jeffrey B. Small, who also makes, arguably, Jeffrey B. Small is one of the few people where you could maybe argue that these clothes are perfect. Deep Tea Barth, to my knowledge, doesn't accept interviews with anyone. I've never found a single interview with her, and she just makes just unbelievable work. Jeffrey B. Small is happy to be interviewed. He's a very gregarious guy. He's super friendly. There's an incredible interview on Style Zeitgeist podcast with him where he talks for over an hour, I think. But both of those brands, I would say, are kind of the modern version of doing the anonymous designer thing, where even though Jeffrey, you know, if someone reaches out to him and is like, you want to sit down for an interview, he'd be like, sure. He's chosen to keep his business in a place where it's likely that the vast majority of people who are watching this right now have never heard of him before. I wish that I had known I was going to go in that direction, because I have some Jeffrey shorts here. My partner is the greatest woman on earth for a lot of different reasons, but one of them is that she found me some Jeffrey B. Small shorts that were not thousands of dollars and got them for me secondhand and surprised me with them. They're made of what appears to be a suiting weight of wool, and I've never had shorts that are just made of a wool, and this summer weight wool is outstanding. I've loved them. And the way that they get broken in and distressed and stuff, like all of these kind of loose, it looks like denim here. These are definitely not denim, but the way they're kind of like coming apart and starting to like express wear and stuff, it's really, really beautiful. I love these shorts. They've been incredibly good to me. You should check, if you ever have an opportunity to be in a major city where you can go look at Jeffrey's stuff in person, there's really only a few stores in the world that carry him, because the price point is so unbelievably high. It is well worth your time to go look at something and try it on. One time I tried on a silk shirt by him that was $6,000. Whew, boy, it's a lot. It's just a lot. What was the question again? Would fashion be better if creative directors were anonymous to the public? Now it is harder to be in that place of like, I am truly totally anonymous. No one knows who I am. They only know the brand, doing the like Martin Margiela thing. It's not necessarily that you yourself, your identity is anonymous, but more that you have chosen to keep your brand in a place where not a lot of people know about it. Oh, this is incredible. Bro, how do I even know whether I'm wearing a trash fit or just lacking confidence for it? Well, the first thing that we got to cover for sure is that this needs to be for you. I have a really good friend. We keep talking about Zegna in this one, but I have a really good friend who works at a Zegna store, and we will go in and I'll just like go in and like talk about clothes with him for a really long time when he's having a slow day. No one would look at him and understand all of the little nuances and decisions and color coordinations and color stories and why he's wearing these specific boots with these pants and how this shirt relates to He told me this himself. He was like, no one will ever understand all of the reasons that I get dressed, because ultimately this stuff is for me. And if it's for some other person, it's never gonna work. No one else is going to be able to understand and acknowledge all of the details that are very, very important to me unless I just flat out explain them to them. And most people just don't care very much. It's gotta be you dressing for you. It's a solo sport. One other thing that I will say that I do personally to kind of help increase my confidence is that I wear clothes that I really love around the house. I don't spend a lot of time in PJs when I'm at my own home, just like editing videos or hanging out or watching a movie or whatever. I tend to get dressed every day, even when I'm hanging out at home. But what it does is it makes it where I actually feel confident in those clothes and I don't have all the weird stiffness and kind of physical expressions of insecurity of wearing something that's brand new. I always feel like when I'm in public, I can tell when someone is wearing brand new clothes because they just have this weird physical stiffness about them. And so I just try to wear the stuff as often as I can, just wear the clothes that I'm excited about that day. And then those clothes kind of become more just a part of me that I'm comfortable in. And then I can just act like myself when I go out in public in them. Great question. Here's another great question. Here's another great question. Does working in retail really help at all? Okay, so I worked in retail for a couple of different years. I think that provided a lot of experience that I now reference a lot for my current job. The deal is that retail will not lead to anything if you're not also working on anything else. In fashion, I think that most people probably should work in retail so that they can get some kind of experience for the way that people coming in to buy clothes want things to be and sort of what their problems are with them and all this stuff. But if you're asking like, is this a solid, secure stepping stone for me to become the creative director at Louis Vuitton? Probably not. You have to be actively working towards the goal that you actually want in order to be there. I think that it is valuable if you're just kind of getting yourself figured out in the industry. If you're like, I don't really know what I want to do yet. Retail was very helpful for me in that. That's how I ended up speaking to a lot of stylists because they would come in for lending programs, and I would end up talking to them a bunch, and I was like, man, maybe I want to be a stylist. And then I tried being a stylist, and I was awful at it. And I was like, dang, but I really love like storytelling in clothes. Like, how do I do that? And I eventually found my way here. So retail for me was an important part of that process, but it's not like going to college and getting a degree in engineering is part of the path of becoming an engineer. It is not that literal. The fidelity isn't that high. You have to point yourself in the direction of your dream. But if you're just figuring it out for the moment, retail is a great option. How to enjoy wearing clothes without the fear of damaging or tearing it apart. So there is definitely something to be said about being cautious with clothes that are nice. I'm guessing, no offense to anybody here, I'm guessing that this question is coming from someone who is either a teenager or in their early 20s and kind of just started collecting. I was extremely, way overly cautious with stuff when I started collecting about 11 years ago. And it gets to a place where you're just like, I'm wearing the clothes, and if something bad happens, I'll take it to the cleaners and they'll get it fixed for me. I don't wear my nice stuff like to a concert, for example, but at the same time, I just think being overly cautious with it sort of hampers you from being able to enjoy your stuff. Be cautious, be reasonable, but don't go overboard with it. Just enjoy your stuff. Interesting update about this. During the process of getting married, going on honeymoon, getting back from the honeymoon, like getting my life back together and stuff, I have somehow managed to lose my favorite pair of pants and my favorite shirt. Not just like the favorite ones that I own currently, like those are my two favorite garments that I've ever owned in my entire life. And I think they might truly just be gone. So if it makes anyone feel any better, I am also currently mourning the loss of that and having to remind myself, like, it's just stuff. It's just stuff. It's hard. I guess that's not technically like damaging something because you spilled ketchup on it, but yeah, it's very painful, but it's gonna be okay. It is just stuff. It is so dark today. It is very, very dark in this room. I apologize for the lighting. Thanks for joining me. See ya.